You know I can't stop talking about Bible Lab, but I want to keep you up to date with what I'm learning and what we as the group are learning. So this is our second year of testing this program, Bible Lab. We started this fall semester with a circle of 10 or 11 women, and I really began talking to Andy and talking to the group about, wait, what exactly are we trying to do? Not just learn about God or just have a Bible study. That's not quite the right words. And so as Andy and I were meeting together, somehow, some way, we came up with this idea of, for the very first night of this semester of Bible Lab, why don't we just plot on the whiteboard where we're at in two areas? The first area was where are we at with our relationship with God? And the second area was where are we at with our relationship to the Bible? And how we were measuring that was, are we cold with God? That was all the way down on the bottom. Are we lukewarm? That would be right in the middle. Or are we hot? That's right at the top. The same with the Bible. Are we cold with the Bible? We really don't want to interact with it at all. Are we lukewarm with the Bible? I can kind of take it or leave it. Or are we burning hot with the Bible? And so we plotted ourselves on that chart to identify, at least as best we could, where we're at. So what came to my mind as I'm staring at this chart was how many times I've heard Woody, my pastor, say over the years, like, we are on a journey up and to the right. And you'll know, like, in these graphs, it doesn't matter if it's stocks or business, you always want to be tracking up and to the right. That means there's growth, there's movement. We want to go up and to the right. And so as a group, what we've decided is together, we want to take a step or two or three or five. We're all at different places. No matter where we're at, we want to take steps up and to the right. And the best hope or chance we have to make this movement up and to the right is together. And by together, I mean is with other people who love God and love the Bible and want to love God and the Bible more. And so with that in mind, we opened up the book of 2 Corinthians. We were asking ourselves, if we want to move up and to the right, and if doing that together around a circle makes the chances of me going further faster than trying to do this on my own, what does 2 Corinthians have to tell us about that? What is the relationship between Paul and the church at Corinth? That we can make observations in their setting, in their context, and fully, as best we can, understand that, and then reflect that back onto us to help us as a group get up and to the right. And so as we did that, and as we're looking for our better thought, if you'll remember that from a couple weeks ago, my thought plus your thought equals a better thought. So we're looking for this better thought. This little phrase came up: invest in we the same as me. Yes, it rhymes. I'm going to say that one more time. Invest in we, invest, pour into, give to, receive from the we, the group, the circle, the same as me. The same investment that I'm pouring in to help me go up and to the right, I want to give to the group. We wondered if, as we make that investment, as we love our neighbor as ourselves, and we make that investment, if it's also, in a weird way, going to reflect back and invest in us. So we left that night with this question in mind. Invest in we, the same as me. How does that hit our head? Like, how do we think about that? How does it hit our heart? And then what would our action, our hands, do if that is true? If that is what 2 Corinthians is reflecting back to us of how to relate to one another, how does it hit me as an individual? Where do I have hiccups? Where do I have hesitation to do that? Here's what I think is interesting. As we took that phrase and we had to actually apply it, not just to our head as like an abstract idea, and not just to our heart as like how we feel about it, but actually also to our hands, like, now I'm going to have to do something with it. Now I'm going to either have to say, yes, I will invest in this group like I invest in myself. I will do that. Or I've got to say, oof, I'm not so sure about that. It brought on so much good conversation because we weren't just staying in the abstract idea, which I think can happen a lot as we study the Bible. It can all stay theoretical. And what this did was it brought it really far down into the practical, with some of us saying, like, wait a second, hold on. I can barely invest in myself. What are you expecting? I already have a ton of friends in my life. I don't know how much more I can give. Or other people saying, I've been burned before. So what do you mean by invest? And how much do you think I'm going to tell you in the next 4 or 5 weeks? This does not feel great to me. I feel nervous about that. And then others of us were like, no, I think this is a great idea. I totally see it. And as we had this really authentic conversation with one another about what we liked about that, about what our fears were about it, about how we think it could go sideways and become like just a religious, non-authentic practice, as we did that, and as the group had this conversation, I just kept saying to them, especially the ones that were pushing back on it, you are right this moment investing in the we. One particular person who's done a lot of investment in finding your voice and learning how to speak up. She's speaking up in the group. And I'm like, friend, you're investing in us by pushing back on this idea of invest in the we the same as me. It's happening right now. We may toss the statement. We may think, no, this doesn't work. That's kind of not even the point. The fruit of it, the actual action of discussing and wrestling with how does this practically live out, is actually doing the investment, is bringing the group closer, is bringing out stuff that I didn't know before about some of them. That little statement has pushed me to say things I otherwise would not have said. As I've wrestled with, well, what does this look like for me? How do I invest in this group the same way that I'm investing in myself? And if I'm not investing in myself very much, that should be reflective as well. Maybe this we and me should balance one another. The more I invest in me, I should be able to invest in the we. And the more that the we invest in me, the more I'm investing in myself. It should counterbalance one another in a way that I think should bring this growth up into the right. We're still exploring. We have not cemented this sentence into Bible Lab yet. It's been a really interesting conversation to have with the group. What do you think about that statement? Invest in we the same as me. How does that hit you? How could it go wrong? How could it go right? I would love to know your perception and your take off of that little sentence. I hope to see you next week. If you made it this far, you may enjoy this video. It's all about applying the Bible.